Greetings all, Ferrari Man 601 here. Welcome back to iRacing and welcome to Hockenheim for the first time. Yes, one of the premier racing simulators available on the market today. Only took 13 years to get one of the most famous circuits in the world. Let's put all of that aside and just take a little bit of a look at what they have given us here at Hockenheim. To do this, of course, we have to pick a German car, so there's nothing better in my book than the Porsche RSR. This is the 991 RSR, of course, with the glorious flat six that revs to over 9,000, for those of you who are into those kinds of memes. I have no idea what they are. Anyway, yeah, let's just get out and drive the thing and get some impressions. Right. So we're not focusing on a car, of course. This is a fantastic car, and it sounds absolutely glorious. However, what do we have here at Hockenheim for our viewing pleasure as we murder the clutch? There we go. Well, the pit out is a very short pit out from where we were in the first box at the end of the pit lane. 31 miles an hour is the limit there in pit lane, though. Blue cone there for the pit exit termination. And super cold brakes. Turns 2 and 3, those were. And the long sweeper. This is where Hermann Tilke, in his infinite wisdom, decided to keep some of the ancestral spirit of this formerly great circuit alive. The longest straightaway blast during the lap. And then down into the extended stadium section here with the 2002 reconstruction of Hockenheim, with the slowest corner on the track, that right-hand hairpin. To the arena section now. This is where we rejoin what was the old circuit. We would just be coming out of the forest here. This is where Mika Häkkinen had a tire blow up in '99. And continuing on what was the former circuit here through the stadium section proper. Nigel Mansell spun off there. Gerhard Berger followed him in sympathy. Final corner here was in 2008 when Timo Glock almost broke his back. Where Kimi Räikkönen lost his rear wing in 2004. So yeah, you can see that there is some fantastic history available here at Hockenheim. In years gone by, we would continue going straight on at this point out into the forest, where someplace there is a memorial for Jim Clark, who was killed here during a Formula 2 event. Also during the 2000 race, some hooligan ran out onto the circuit back there. That's when Rubens Barrichello took his first Formula 1 win. Of course, 2001, a gigantic accident involving Michael Schumacher and I believe Enrique Benoldi at the start. Brakes are still a bit cold. So there's a lot of history, a lot of heritage here. For iRacing to bring this circuit to the sim, obviously it is a big gap that has now been filled. However, with our tires mostly happy now and our brakes mostly happy now, what does the circuit have to offer? I have to say, I haven't driven Hockenheim in quite a long time. The last time I drove it, I believe, was at F1 2019, as it was featured in that game, but circuits in the F1 series, not so awesome. This, however, is laser scanned to the ends of the earth. Turn 1 is a very tricky corner. Clip the apex a little bit, and then you go wide over the exit curbs. The exit curbs, though, they have a gutter through them to channel water down the hill here, so be careful of that. Turn 2, this is where the Mickey Mouse stuff begins. You have to keep the car toward the middle of the circuit, then short shift here into second so that you don't understeer in turn 3. Use the exit curbs there, and then you just get set up toward the left-hand side of the circuit and enjoy this long full throttle blast. Heavy braking, though, big braking, heaviest braking on the circuit here into the slowest corner, the hairpin, where we have an apex speed of 39 miles an hour in this thing. Out of the hairpin, full power, traction control helping out in this car. Get into this right-hand sweeper, flat out even in something like this. Of course, in an open wheeler, it's going to be flat all the way. And then we get toward the Mercedes corner, I believe that's called, in front of the Mercedes grandstand. Bit of a chicane as we rejoin the old circuit. Then into the stadium. The car wants to wash away here in understeer or oversteer. It all depends, but you can use the curbing there on the entrance and exit. And then braking for this long left-hander. Bit of positive camber to help you out. Get on power early and use the run out on the exit. That's fine. Curbing through here is all very shallow, but there are some sausages beyond it, so do watch out. And then the final corner, you can use that green curbing on the inside and on the outside if you want. And in no uncertain terms, that is a lap. What am I feeling here with the track surface? Obviously, things are almost entirely rubbered in for our purposes here. Track surface feels very smooth. It's not bumpy at all. Of course, you feel the effects from the curbing if you do get on them, but track surface itself, it is very smooth. It does not appear to be very abrasive. Not much vibration going through the steering here, just coming down the straight at 155 plus. And that general surface quality continues all the way around the lap. Hairpin is a little bit difficult to get it slowed down, particularly in the beginning of a stint when your brakes are cold. But traction zones are very stable. Car doesn't want to brake out, even though this car hardly ever does brake out on acceleration because it is just so good. Not much elevation change here, obviously, but the little bit that there is actually is camber in the corners, and almost all the corners are positively cambered, so it's cambered toward the apex. In other words, it helps you get into the corner, except for this one right here where it is relatively flat. There is still a little bit of positive camber there, but it's not nearly as much as you get through this section here. Enough camber there where you're driving uphill through the exit, which really helps the traction. Very, very good. I'm liking this so far. Car like this, don't really have to think about bottoming out over the exit curbs at turn one. Something like an open wheeler, probably you do want to steer clear of that a little bit. But all in all, not bad. The exit curbs in all of the corners are very smooth and totally usable. In fact, if you want to get the most out of a lap, you're going to have to use the exit curbing in most cases. On the brakes here, the entrance curbing for the hairpin, that's also usable if you want it. Starts a little bit late for my liking, but it's there. Technically speaking, this is also part of the old track. That's another section of the formerly wonderful straights coming out of the forest. Of course, there is more grip on the racing line where things are rubbered in. If I go out of the racing line, you can see all of a sudden the car does start to fall away. So that's all par for the course. You'd expect that at this point from iRacing, and works pretty nicely. I do like the big oil can on top. That's been a fixture at Hockenheim for decades. I've seen races from the 80s where there's an inflatable oil can there. So that's pretty cool. I do tend to remember it being a Mobile 1 can, but I don't know if iRacing... I don't even know if that's still the case at Hockenheim. They may have changed contracts with sponsors, but there is still the big inflatable oil can. I like that. On the brakes, we'll use some of this entrance curbing. It is a bit cambered positively toward the track surface, so if you do get up on it, it is going to want to push you back onto the track, which is actually good. Just be ready for it because it can be abrupt. That apex curbing there through that previous corner, it is a shock through the front suspension if you hit it. Obviously, the car is loaded up through there and you're accelerating all the time, so it will be a shock. It can actually rip the steering wheel out of your hands a little bit, so just be mindful. But all in all, this is very good. Visually, it's actually more so reminding me of the super ancient days. Some of you might not have even been born yet, but the Formula One Championship Edition F106 game for PS2, PS3. Obviously, Hockenheim was a fixture in the 2006 F1 calendar, and therefore it was in that game. Very, very much reminding me of the visuals that we had there. Obviously, the circuit hasn't changed at all from those days. So that would make sense, but I'm liking it. It all feels very familiar. Can stay flat through there at this point with the tires where they are. You do need to short shift, though, into second. On the brakes, using the curb and locking up that inside front. Might not want to use the curbing. It does upset the lateral weight transfer, which will contribute to lockups. Sausage curbing there for the exit. Again, just be mindful, you do have quite a bit of room before you would hit it. Get the nose in. This final corner, a double apex right-hander, it has always plagued me. No matter which sim it's been in, I've just never really gone on well with that corner. Not difficult, it's just there's a very slight bit of elevation change in the middle, and it just kind of tends to induce some understeer. We won't use the entrance curbing this time. Makes her a slightly better entrance into the hairpin. Turn in slightly earlier here, pick up that apex curbing. As long as you're ready for it, it's not a problem. Get deep onto the exit curbing through the first corner of the stadium out of the right-hander. You get a little bit of bottoming. Not really a problem in a car like this where we're not generating all that much underbody downforce at that speed. But again, in your open wheelers where you're going to be going into that corner at probably 40% faster, just be aware. All right, we didn't lock up the right front that time. Progress. And as you can see, I mean, I'm very familiar with the circuit, of course, so there hasn't really been any learning period here. But this place is the kind of place, despite it not being all that dynamic in terms of elevation change, in terms of negative camber corners for the most part, it still can just sort of suck you in, and you find yourself turning laps. One more flyer here. Yep, that apex curbing there that'll bounce in the air, obviously. The whole first sector just goes by very quickly. And there's not a whole lot to this. We've got 16 corners in all, but they're all reasonably either low to medium speed or just really spread out from each other. That's a big lockup. Didn't recover from that one. Use the run out there. Go around the sausage curb. If you do get wide into the hairpin, go around the sausage curb. You'll rip the bottom off your car, and that'll probably be your day done. Yeah, tires are a bit hot. All right, we'll try that flyer one more time. I'm gonna say reattempt. Is that a word? A little bit cautious now of the right front, so when it gets unloaded, I'm just kind of shying away from it a little. Okay, keep the wheels straight. Cadence braking here. Yep. Tires are gone. well, they're not gone, but they've lost the edge, is what I mean.
You've got about 5 laps of fuel.
Yep. Ah, yep, that's a little squirrely there. And obviously your pit in is this. In, as Peter Bonington was very famously quoted as saying in 2019. Within your pit lane where you are limited to this crawling pace of 31 miles an hour. And it's very bumpy in here. It's not at all bumpy out on track, but in the pits, it's, well, a little bit rumbly. But that is that. That's what iRacing has given us here for Hockenheim, and yeah, it's a cool track. Obviously, it's a stalwart in Grand Prix history, and many other series also use Hockenheim, both nowadays as well as in its previous iterations. And really, it's an overdue addition to iRacing, and it's good that they've got it now. I wish it didn't take 13 years, but we've got it now, and it's good. It's really, really good. I think all different types and classes of cars will really take to this place. I know iRacing did a video with the P217 Dallara for their promo launch of the circuit, so that seemed pretty good around here. This thing is awesome around here. I'm sure open wheelers are going to be awesome around here, and I'm sure there's going to have to be some hot lap attempts and some open wheelers here, probably in the newly revitalized and entirely unrealistic MP430 McLaren. So we'll take a look at that perhaps in due course. But that's what I've got here from Hockenheim. Stay tuned for some hot laps without commentary so you can hear this glorious engine in all of its splendor. Until next time, though, I do thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. For iMatt 601 saying thanks, and of course, we will see you soon.